Hello, beautiful, amazing, fantastic world, and you, wonderful, wonderful individual. Today, I would like to speak about the healing effects on holding your inner being with compassion and a certain tranquility and not complete silence, for once you have calmed your inner being enough, it is still not 100% silent, for out of the silence comes inspiration. Of course, one needs to clear up in a lot of clouds and haze and mist in our inner being so that we can be able to clearly have a certain perception and understanding of the world. Now, if we only have an understanding of the world through our head, through our outer senses and such, and well, it is more often than not only our eyes and our ears, for it's not like we focus on the world through our touch or through our sense of smell always, or we don't go around tasting everything either, but mostly our eyes and ears. So when we start to see the world through thinking and also feeling and will impulses, but there are more than just these two. But these are what we can in general see in human beings. For, well, we human beings are very active and very alive within ourselves if we become aware of it. More often than not, we are not aware of it. And as I said, if we only see the world through our head, we will be unaware and have a certain lack of control of our emotional being and well-being. Now, from emotional well-being, tranquility and harmony comes healing. It is the same with disease and with becoming ill and unhealthy. It is all about our soul disposition and what we otherwise focus on in life. There are such things that are healthy and such things that are unhealthy. And, well, instead of going from good and evil, it is much better to go from healthy and unhealthy slash beautiful and ugly in its deepest sense, because it is all about your mind, his, her, soul, well-being of soul. And that is something that you take with you even after death, so it is immeasurably important. So the more we do have we fill our being in freedom, for that is what we have to do with love, and it is a choice we need to sustain and hold every day. It is an activity. That is what love is. It is an active living force you need to not utilize, because it's like you grab onto it and whip it or something, but no, you let it through you. You let it flow out of you and through you and such. And you also let it go over everything you perceive with your senses. So all of reality just becomes deeper, and you are able to perceive more and more of reality and of oneself and of individuals and of groups of people and of, well, plants, minerals, animals. You become very well versed in perception and in seeing the many invisible forces playing around with, well, our being. For the more aware and awake you become to your own being, the more you are here in your vessel, instead of letting certain forces play constantly in our will impulses and in our emotions and thoughts without us being fully aware of it. So instead, you become fully aware in your own inner being and filling your whole being with your spirit. And that spirit, that you, is healing for the body, for you are here participating. You are not daydreaming somewhere, you are not in another realm somewhere, although your body is fully visible right in front of me, right in front of us. You see where I'm coming from here. It is about becoming awake when we are in an awake state. And start being from inwards out, you truly can start radiating healing. First and foremost for yourself. For when you can heal your inner being through devotion, gratitude, and, well, also asking for it in humility, which also is necessary, for we need to let them in freedom. It is about how serious do you take this. For this is not something we just do as a joke or as a hobby. This is seriously about our soul and our spirit here, our eternal parts, and that is what we work upon. Our physical vessel follows thereafter, so that is not what we should focus on. It is the same with food, truly. We eat because we need sustenance, and that it tastes good should be a result of it, not vice versa, that you should eat because it tastes good. You eat because of sustenance, but you can make the food taste good. So it is all about perspective and our whole intention and the aspiration we hold. For there are certain things we need to clear out of our being, certain egotistical and inner longings that doesn't serve us in health, doesn't serve us in inner harmony. It messes with the harmony and brings in this ease. This ease. You don't feel easy, and it also brings about illness because of it. For when our body is in an imbalance because of our inner state of being, we are, well, open for such illnesses. We become kind of susceptible to it, vulnerable to it, because we are in moments of weakness, in moments of being weak to Ahriman's forces. So when you always hold love, and yes, we have weak moments, but it is about what we do majority of the time, not the exceptions. For the exceptions is what we work with. That's the karma. That's how we truly get to know ourselves and how we are working in the present and so on. But it is about the curiosity of it. So when you do work on your inner emotional well-being and truly allowing yourself to become, over time, strong enough to sit silent in your own inner being without becoming feverish and wishing to get away from yourself, or you do not wish to see anything. It is about holding that open space of warmth, holding the atmosphere of, let's see what will happen. Let's see what the higher realms might want to show us, and so on. That openness allows for revelations. It allows for inspiration of our heart and spirit and soul. And it truly is a marvelous and amazing experience when you truly can have a feeling that you are always guided, you are always being watched over. It is all about holding strong to the good, the true, and the beautiful, and working and striving and constantly fighting towards that. For if someone wishes to fight against that speaks more about them than about the cause you are following. For once you have, as we say, the means is far more important than the goal in the first place. So how you reach your aspiration, which more or less is far in, at least my aspiration is many, many lifetimes in the future. When you reach certain stages, you keep on going. There really is no end goal. We take this development into our last breath. For, as I mentioned in my last video, even our last breath and our last feeling and thought has an effect when we go through the gate of death. So it's like with the Vikings and Valhalla. If you died going down fighting, you would reach Valhalla. It's kind of the same. If you pass through the sun, or if you pass through the moon, if you pass in unconsciousness, or pass in a certain reverent consciousness. But I digress. It is all about holding your inner being to a certain standard, to be within your own being and participating in your own body, finding out what your body is and what it's built up by. And through esoteric science and concept, you can become very, very, very deeply knowledgeable about your own being, which is why I studied this in the first place. You cannot live without it when you first have started doing it. I promise you. For wouldn't you like to know about yourself, how you work, instead of believing that you already know? For you don't know, I don't fully know yet, and we are still deep within our development yet. We haven't truly really kicked off in our true spiritual development. We are still in a certain earthly box here, but we are meant to break through that box and let in divine forces, for we are now only dealing more or less in earthly forces constantly. And to be able to develop, we need the sun forces of the Christ, and opening ourselves up to that in our heart, for it needs to be through emotions, through love. Yes, it is morals, yes, it is law, but the Christ was the gentle, soft Redeemer. He was the healer. He stood for forgiveness. He stood for warmth and compassion and understanding. So, I will leave you with this today. Thank you so much for listening to me. May Father, Holy Spirit, Christ, Michael, ancient masters of old, ancestors from every incarnation, bless, protect, guide, and love you on your amazing, beautiful path. And may the Godhead, Seraphim, Cherubim, Thrones, Kyriadetes, Dynamis, Exousiae, Archai, Archangels, and Angels provide you with all that you need to survive, live, and thrive, and be creative and inspirational, and a healing force, and being a good example, so others can be the same if they choose to. Freedom. Thank you. You are amazing. Goodbye.